Hi, Dougie Bird from Doug Bird's Tackle World here for this weekend, the 14th and 15th of August 2021. Giving you a bit of an update on the fishing report. We're going to cover from offshore to estuary and then through to freshwater all in the one go. Until next week when we get the snapper closure opens up again on Monday. So just for now, we're just going to do it all in one go. So, okay, offshore this weekend, the weather is like unbelievable, guys. At this stage, it's showing like maybe a maximum of 5 knots on Saturday and Sunday, which is always a way when you can't go snapper fishing or pearl perch. So, my suggestion is with that sort of weather and the swell being only around 1 metre, and you know what you're doing, I'll be probably chasing dewies both early morning and late evening, late in the afternoon on dark, for the jewfish on the close reefs offshore. So just talking like in around about that sort of 30 metre mark, 25 to 30 metres out to about maybe 45 metres max. Anywhere out the front of the seaway, north of the seaway, up off the jumping pin area. Just remember it is a run out tide in the dark. Low tide is around about, I think around 8 o'clock at night on Saturday night, and Sunday's a bit later. So just be careful coming in that run out tide in the dark. It is a bit tricky. Even though the swell's only small, you should be really careful and never travel across the north entrance of the seaway. Stick it 20 metres all the way down to get south of the seaway, then dogleg back into the seaway. That's if you do night time. But just remember, know where the lights are. Green is north side of the seaway, red is the south side of the seaway. Comes straight down the middle. But anyhow, do that, guys. But otherwise, I'll be going out wide. Those weather conditions have been really, really good. There's a bit of current. I think it's about 1.2 to 1.4 knots, which is not too bad. But you've got not much wind. So I'll be jigging, and I'll be jigging for kingies and amberjack. This is the time of year that they really come on. I'll be fishing northeast of the seaway or east of the seaway in that sort of 85 metre mark to 90 metre mark. I'll be using jigs in that sort of 200 to 300 gram size, sort of long jig, that style. This is one of the Kentucky Gamokus. They come with really good hooks, and they're flat on one side and beveled on the other side, but they're a fast action jig for kingies and amberjack, and they're really, really good for high speed jigging, what we're doing for the amberjack. Another really popular jig is one by Samaki. It's called a Hummer V2. This is version 2. That's actually a really good colour, but they do a heap of good colours. That one's about 300 grams, that fellow. So you want to jig that on at least 50 pound P5 to P8 line. Okay. If you got like a slow pitch type jig and you want to chase the kingies, I'd be using something like this fellow here, which is also another Samaki jig. This is called Wingman. These jigs also and other brandings you'll see on the marketplace as well, but this one kicks butt. The weight is 200 grams, so it'll also fall quite fast. You can work it fast, but it will flutter as well. At this time of the year, obviously because the snapper closure, we're trying to use more longer jigs, trying not to get snapper, because this one here may get the odd snapper and pearly as well. But if you work it fast, you will get mainly kingies and amberjack. So work at least halfway up the water column before you drop it back down again. Okay. So I'll be doing that, and I heard there's a few dolphin fish around the fads, 50 fathoms east of the seaway. Might be worth a look if you're out in that area, and maybe chuck a livey out at the fads or troll past with some skirts. Very early season, but they still meet up. Remember, they only live for about 12 to 18 months, so that massive. So they're quick growing, and they're obviously hungry. Okay, that's probably about it for offshore for this weekend. We'll venture now into the Broadwater and the jumping pin area. So there's been a lot of flatties, heaps of flatties around, and this weekend again weather's perfect. You've got a really good tide. You've got that last half of the run out, which is I really like, and the first couple of hours of run in sort of before lunch. So fantastic tides for catching flatties. I'll be fishing around the jumping pin area, probably around Tiger Mullet Channel, Wally's Gutter, Tippler's Channel, and maybe over along Kalinga Bank or the back western side of Kalinga Bank, around Russell Island as well, and even west up towards Cabby Street Point and around Jacobs Well, trolling lures on those big flat banks there on the edges. I like using vibes a lot too at this time of the year. These little Samaki type fellows kick butt. They come in all different sizes, but that type of thing there, if you can see those. They are really, really good. It's a very easy action. You cast it out, and it depends on the current and the wind and everything. But there's not much wind, and the current's medium this weekend. And you just slow lift it and just hop it back down again, and take up the slack and just lift it a little bit and drop it back down. The flatties this year have been really timid, as in some of the hits, so they're not quite aggressive and they don't like the boom 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 jerk. It's more of just a little twitch. So just get that little vibe happening, the vibratious up, and then instead of swim back down again. And yeah, get some good flatties, I dare think. Actually, I think the boys fishing with Ross McCubbin on Lucky Strike Charters this week got a 93 on one of these little vibratious vibes, and because I use them all the time, they're very good. The other thing I'll be doing is maybe walking out of the surf on Strady. There's just so many tail around, guys, they're just ridiculous. Anywhere from the bedroom at the northern end of Jumping Pin all the way down Strady, and I guess along the Spit as well, and down towards Mermaid. I'll be casting sort of fellas like this type of thing here. There's sort of Rapala lure, and they're the anchovy colour. That one's the anchovy colour. They do a range of colours, but these fellas here are like 38 grams. They're quite heavy, so you get a really long cast. That fella there doesn't have a bib. That's like a stick bait, and this one does have a bib, even though it's very heavy. It actually swims at just below the white water, which is what you want. We go down tomorrow morning and give it a bit of a shot in the surf, so I'll give you an update on how we go tomorrow morning, but definitely worth a go. The other thing we've been doing for flatties, I don't know if you saw last week when our staff, Stewie, on Sunday actually, he smashed a nice flatty around sort of 86 centimetres with one of these big athletes fishing over the shallows. We're only fishing in about 2 foot of water. Up in the high tide, they come right up in the shallows and feeding and just cruising around. And you just sort of twitch, a bit of a rake, and then slow wind it and twitch, and they'll just come hooting across. You'll see them. Looks like a big stingray, much that commotion happening on the bottom, and they'll just nail it. And it's always the surfacing. They nearly like jump out of the water and nail it, and dive on it, you know. And great fun to catch those big flatties. So yeah, there's an array of colours as well. There's actually about 10 colours that we carry, but they're called. They're made in Japan. They're made by Jackson, and they're an Athlete is the brand, the model, sorry, and they're 170 millimetres. They're quite big, but we're casting those on about 15-pound braid, 7 foot spin stick, 2.5 to 4,000 size reel, and about 25-pound leader, 20-pound leader with those lures. Work really, really well. Heaps of whiting in the Rang River, up in the council chambers. The tides on Sunday afternoon are pretty good, probably higher up there around about around that 4 o'clock mark. And you get that first couple of hours to run out just on dark. That's a really good tide for whiting. I'll be trying around the banks around Wave Break, and up the Jumping Pin around Gold Bank. Yabbies and worms would be the bait. I'll be fishing definitely the surf. The sand pump and jetty apparently is free to fish off at the moment as far as I know, and it's open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I could be wrong, but I think that's right. So many tailor, like everyone's just bagging out. So I'll be getting my backside down the sand pump and jetty and have a fish for a tail if you don't like getting your feet wet on the beach. Otherwise I'll be beach fishing, and I'll be fishing around that back of SeaWorld, opposite Phillip Car Park, Mirage, Main Beach, Narrowneck, front of Focus Building at Surface, and down to Mermaid, and further south down around Tugun, and definitely south of Tweed River around Cabarita, and further south again down towards Ballina. Some really big tail on the beach everywhere at the moment. Common size seems to be around that 45 to 58 centimetres, sorry. So they're quite good size. And give that a shot. Plenty of bream in the canals. We're going to go chase some bream on plastics and that up around sort of Runaway Bay, Paradise Point area, and a few in the Rang around Benoa as well. Okay, that's probably about on the Broadwater scene. A few squid around too. I got a few squid myself actually yesterday morning, just on the western foreshore, Runaway Bay all the way up to the Gold Coast Bridge at Sundial. And yeah, on the high tide, okay, midday at the moment, a bit after. Okay, freshwater scene on the Hinds Dam. Definitely the bass is stacked up again down around the wall, because this time of year they breed. And I would be probably trying to find them. If you haven't got a good sounder, you should be able to find them sounder. If you haven't, just troll lures around folks like this sort of thing here. You want something that, this is actually it's a Japanese lure, evergreen, a little That's what I know. They're called Wild. Is that right? Yeah, Wild Hunch. They're called. And the Rashi's are really good as well. A Storm product, European design lure. And both these lures get down around that 15 foot to 18 feet. Just drop a line back a fair way, about 30 to 60 metres back behind the tinny or boat or kayak. And you're trolling at about 2 to 3 kilometres an hour with the electric or with your paddle. And just get the rod tip down really low to the water and set your drag perfect. Look for those schooled up fish and just troll straight through them or around them. And once you get a couple going to feed, then they'll come and mature a bit. And otherwise jig fides through them and give that a shot. Anyhow, have a great weekend. The weather's fantastic. Don't forget our snapper and pearl perch closure reopens on Monday at about Sunday night around 12:01 a.m. / Monday morning, but not 12:01 a.m. on Sunday morning. It's on Monday morning, okay? So give that a shot. Actually, a mate of mine was fishing yesterday. They got out wide, and his name's Chris, and they never got there 'cause it's a bit rough. And they fished just in the 24s, and lo and behold, they fished pattern Oster rig, try not to get snapper, no float lining, just pattern Oster. And they dropped down, and what did they catch? They caught about a 95 centimetre, 10 kilo snapper on a pattern Oster rig on the 24s. So there's some big snapper out there, guys, so get ready for it, okay? Okay, welcome to jump on to Doug Burt's fishing page on our channel on YouTube, and you can pick up anything you like there, what we've been doing recently. A lot more to put on there. We just sort of wait for the right time before we put it on there. We're trying to get it for a deep drop on Sunday. I'll probably be fishing. I'm fishing the surf tomorrow for Taylor, and if I don't go offshore Sunday, we'll be chasing probably flatties up the pin area. Okay, see you out there. Thanks, Doug Burt from Doug Burt's Tackle World on the Gold Coast. Bye.